Yo, I'm Brendan. Every investing app needs a critical feature to make it great. There's a ton of financial technology companies starting to do business these days. There's more and more coming out all the time. And if they don't have this feature, then it's going to be harder and more annoying for you to invest, especially if you're starting out with a smaller amount of money or if you're just starting investing. But I have a confession to make. When I prepared this video, I landed on 4 different critical features all investing services must have. And then after I share each of these 4 qualities, I'll go over a few investing services that all have them. Here's what they are. Number 1, it should have fractional shares. And this was the original feature that I intended this whole video to be about, just because it's kind of a critical thing for people who are starting out with small amounts of money. Maybe you're investing irregularly. This really enables you to invest in the way that you want without having to jump through the hoops of buying whole shares. If you don't already know, fractional shares is just where your investing company allows you to buy tiny amounts of an investment. You don't have to buy a whole share. So let's say you only want to invest $5 at a time. You can still buy whatever the thing is that you want to buy. You don't have to wait and save up money to buy a share in, let's say, Apple. Apple as a company has done ridiculously well over the last 20 years. But if you wanted to buy a whole share today, you need $168. What if you only have $20? Well, with some investing services, you're out of luck. You'd have to wait and save up and buy a whole share for $168. But whenever your investing service has fractional shares, you just buy your $20 worth and boom, you're done. You're an investor. The second thing that all beginner investing services should have is multiple account types. For most of us, all this means is having an option to have something like a retirement account as well as a brokerage account. In my opinion, I think we want the option because it helps us to have both of those things. They're really like optimized for different purposes in life. So if you have the option for both, you can do both kinds of investing and specialize in each one. My opinion is that whenever you're first starting out investing and you're unsure about your future, or maybe you have less money available to designate for your retirement and lock it away for decades, you should probably just use a taxable brokerage account. It's simpler. You can put money in and out of it really easily. There's really no limits of any kind to speak of. And then if you need the money in 3 weeks, you can rip it back out. Who cares? But whenever you can decide that, hey, I'm comfortable stashing away money for a long period of time because maybe I'm more secure in my career, maybe you just found a partner that also has an income and so that frees stuff up for you, then at that stage, opening something like a Roth IRA makes the most sense for people. It allows you to lock away money for decades and have a big tax benefit at the end of that, which is really, really cool. The only problem with an investing service not giving you all of these accounts all in-house is just that it's annoying to have to use multiple different services. Oh, I've got a Roth IRA with Vanguard, and then I've got my taxable brokerage account over here, and you're spread thin to have to do things in different places.
If we invest like that, Gandalf, we may feel thin, like butter scraped over too much bread.
It's totally fine to do that. You just end up filing more tax paperwork at the end of the year. You end up with more logins on your phone. It's just a little bit annoying. Thing number 3 that I want to see from every investing service that's great for beginners this year is high yield cash management. Because sometimes having cash actually rocks. Like right now, at this very minute, it does. At the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024, and who knows about 2025, our interest rate that we can get from just having cash is as good as I've ever seen it in my lifetime. For right now, earning 5% on uninvested cash is pretty much the standard. And 10 years ago, that kind of return was hard to come by. People were willing to go out and actually risk their money to go out and get that kind of return, where nowadays you can get it basically risk-free by just holding cash. And the great thing about this being available to you when you have an investing brokerage service that includes high-yield cash savings is that typically big banks don't give you the best interest rate. So you've got to go somewhere else to try and find it. Whenever you've got cash and you could be earning some substantial money with it, your bank isn't going to do that for you. Think about it this way. If we had $25,000 in cash at Wells Fargo, earning the typical big bank interest rate of 0.15% per year, we'll make a whopping $37.50 in a year. That's a few burritos, barely anything. If we put that same money in an account earning 5% interest, we'd make a legitimately impressive $1,250 per year. That's like a tenth of a race car. That's easily over 100 breakfast burritos worth of interest. Enough said. The number 4 thing that every beginner investing service should have in 2024 and beyond is automatic transfers made easy. I think that automatic transfers have been totally instrumental in helping me to invest for this long. For me, I've basically been investing every month for the last 15 years, if not more often, and there's zero chance that I'd have invested as much as I have without them. Automatic transfers make investing unbelievably easy. You just set it all up to happen without your consent or supervision or discipline every week or every month or however often it makes sense, and it's totally amazing. The best way to start this up is just to start with an amount that you can live on. It's kind of like whenever you start exercising and dieting again, you don't want to go too much too fast because it's not sustainable. If you immediately jump into running 10 miles a day and eating 1900 calories a day, that's going to last like a day. It's not something you can keep doing for a long time. So start with a small amount of money first, whatever you can afford, and then slowly ratchet that up over time as you know that you can make it happen. Plus, the easiest way to invest a substantially larger amount of money than you have been is whenever you get a raise. Because of course, you're going to get a raise. You work hard and you add lots of value. And so whenever you get that raise, you just have to invest the vast majority of the raise. So let's say you're going to make $5,000 per year more after a recent review. I think you could invest $3,500 more or $4,000 more of that $5,000 raise and then keep the rest for whatever you like. That way you're investing a massive amount more and you still get the satisfaction of also having more money for whatever your normal day-to-day life goals are. Yeah, I know it's way more hardcore to just say like, just invest the raise and don't change anything. And technically, yeah, that is the most efficient way to grow your net worth, to invest as much as you can, as early as you can. That's like the right answer by the numbers. But we also have to be human people who are willing to keep up with this discipline of investing over a long period of time. So I think it helps to kind of split the difference there. Big chunk towards investing, little chunk towards fun stuff like burritos and race cars. So which investing services do all of this and check all 4 boxes and which of them don't? I'm not going to go over every investing service in the world, but we'll check some off here. Number 1, M1 Finance sort of does this. You got to have $10,000 deposited to not get charged a monthly fee now. But otherwise, they check the boxes pretty well here. Robinhood also sort of does it. The only thing that you have to do with them is pay for Robinhood Gold, which is about $5 per month to get that 5% cash management. Otherwise, it passes the tests. Acorns does do all of this stuff, but you got to pay a monthly fee to access it. Fidelity does without any and, ors, or buts. So does WeBull. So does Vanguard. And I'm sure there's 5 or 10 other potentially decent investing apps that also do it. It's not that hard of a thing to accomplish. And that's why I wanted to make this video is, look, these 4 qualities are pretty simple when it comes down to it. If you're going to pick some kind of oddball investing service that doesn't have these 4 qualities or maybe has a bad reputation out there, there's really no reason to. Just pick somebody who has a good reputation, who's got all of these qualities, and who you can actually trust over the long haul, and then get going, get investing. The tricky thing about picking the right investing service, though, is it's really not a stagnant thing. It's such a moving target. In my experience, I would estimate that these investing services change their features or their pricing probably 2 to 3 times per year, sometimes more. So even though things are structured like this now, I'm going to continue to update you on investing services over time because these things keep changing. Speaking of changes, here's a video outlining some changes to Robinhood recently. There's been a bunch of stuff going on. Some people think it's really appealing. A lot of people still aren't trusting Robinhood and don't think it's a good place to put their money. So watch this video to see how you feel next. Otherwise, click on my little face here in the circle to subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.